Hello everyone, good morning, and welcome to today's session on personal branding through LinkedIn. As you all know, the importance of personal branding and how LinkedIn platform is important to all of us, especially from an MBA perspective. So, I would like to introduce today's trainer, Ms. Aishwarya Ganesh, to you all. She is a communication professional and personal branding strategist with experience in advertising, content marketing, and PR. She is currently associated with Entrepreneurship Incubation Cell IIT Madras. She also holds a voluntary position as curator at TEDx Napier Bridge, Chennai. She previously headed marketing and was in the core founding team of Hashtag Success Academy, a personality development academy in Chennai, associating with several prominent city colleges. Her articles on wellness, self development, and women empowerment have found features in women based publications like Women's Era. She actively volunteers her time with NGOs to conduct training sessions for women on developing personal skills, soft skills, and career readiness, fundraising initiatives, and social media outreach. She has been accepted into Lead Like a Girl Fellowship by Shaneomics. And she also happens to be one of my closest friends. So we would love to learn the tips and tricks for personal branding from you. So it will be a 45-minute session followed by Q&A. Over to you, Aishwarya. The stage is all yours. Eager to learn from you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vishnupriya, so much for that lovely introduction. And yes, as she mentioned, we have known each other for a very, very long time now, personally as well as professionally. And I'm so excited that I get to be here today and address you all, especially on such an important topic that is also very, very close to my heart. And it's a passion of mine to teach something that I really love. So let's get right into it. And I will just be sharing my screen. So just give me a second. So I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Okay, great. Right. So on to the topic for today, which is personal branding through LinkedIn. An absolute important topic, and it's an absolute need for the hour. In fact, rather than need for the hour, I would say it was a need of the past. It's something that is ingrained in our lives so much, and something we should have already begun. But again, the next best time is right now. So that's what we will be doing today. A huge welcome and thank you for turning up. I know it's a Saturday, and it's great that you've decided to invest your time in coming here today and to do something that will absolutely help elevate your profile, will get you into so many new opportunities, and overall, ensure a very successful outcome for every one of you who's attending this today. So before getting into the session, I would really love to know, what is your expectation from this session? When you heard about this topic, personal branding through LinkedIn, what were you expecting, or what were some of the things that just immediately jumped to your mind? I would really love to know before we get into the topic and we get deep in. So I would love to have a few answers.
Like
You
what
could,
could be the valid connections and all?
if you could just speak up a little bit.
I would like to know, like, what would be connections and all.
Okay, great. Yeah, sure. Anyone else?
How are we making our profile really stand out with all the LinkedIn profiles around?
Right. Absolutely. Cool. Anyone else? Maybe we'll take another answer and then we'll
And
get
how
right
we
into it.
polish our LinkedIn profile. So LinkedIn profile is a main basic thing which recruiters see firstly about ourselves. So we'll learn a few key points to polish our LinkedIn profiles. How to sentence the sentences should all the sentences and all the summary of our profiles.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, so I think all our expectations and the outcome is absolutely aligned. That's a great thing. So after hearing your expectations, I have only one expectation that I have from your batch, which is very simple. I would just love to have your full attention and your involvement for this entire session, because it's definitely not a one-way communication. It's not just me coming and speaking about something and trying to advise you on something. We hate advices, right? So what I'm actually trying to do through this session is to make sure that you get the maximum possible outcome out of this, and give me this 1 hour to help you invest in your own growth. That's all I'm expecting. So feel free to grab a notepad with you, because we'll be covering quite a bit of points. So you can note that down whenever, as in when you come across something. You could even take a screenshot. And another important thing is, since there'll be a lot that we'll be covering, and I know that since again it's a Saturday, I would definitely want to be very mindful of your time as well. So we will try to wrap it up within 45 minutes, and then we'll get to the Q&A. So when you have any doubts, I would really love for you to park your doubts till the end, and we will get to it in the dedicated Q&A session time. Great. Okay. So moving on. Like the introduction says, so my name is Aishwarya. I am a communications professional and a personal branding strategist. Currently, I am with the Entrepreneurship Incubation Cell at IIT, and I'm really excited also and very passionate about the concept of visibility, especially conscious visibility, and helping people and brands communicate better. That is what I'm really passionate about, and I hope that really comes across today in the session. So before getting into the depth of the topic, there's something I want to know your opinion on. There's a sentence that we often use, which is, "My work speaks for me." It's a sentence that goes around quite a bit. We've heard quite a bit about it, and we've heard people using it. But I want to know, what is your take on it and why? Do you agree with it? Why? Or do you disagree with it? Are you in between? What is your take on it? What do you think? I would love for some answers on this. You can unmute, or you can just put it in the chat box. Anything is fine. Okay. You agree with it? Would you want to unmute and tell me why you agree with it?
Yes, Aishwarya, this is Pritiparna. So, according to me, what I do actually defines what kind of person I am. So, it's basically gives the other person an expression what my work is all about, as well as what kind of person I am, and what is my area of interest. That's what my understanding is.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. Yeah.
Rega this side. So I would agree, but I would just partially agree, because it isn't just work until and unless we express or speak for ourselves that we have accomplished something. So it remains no, incomplete.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Great. Anyone else? Vishnupriya, why don't you take a go at this? I'd love to hear your answer too.
I also agree with the fact that my work speaks for me. How I take my work and how I execute it. It definitely that's what it is for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So I loved hearing all those answers. Now I'll let you know why I kind of asked this question, and what does it kind of come to. So the reason why I said this is, today the market is very noisy. And what I mean by that is, it's saturated. There are a lot of people with very similar skills, experiences, credibility. So it's very difficult. It's becoming very difficult to stand out. And absolutely, you should be a smart worker, a hard worker. Your work should be, I mean, of the highest quality. That is a given. But apart from that, it's not just enough for you to let your work speak for you, but you should also be the first advocate of your work, of your profile, of the whole perception, what you're trying to create. And unfortunately, right now, work does not only speak for itself. We are trading in a social currency, and in this market, believe it or not, the loudest person will win. And right here is where we come into the actual importance of personal branding and why it is required. Because your personal brand is like your net worth. Now, what I have on screen is something which I like to call the rings of perception. So, currently, what we imagine ourselves to be is our existing image. And that is an overlap between what we believe about ourselves, what we know about ourselves, including, let's say, our qualifications, our credibility, our experience, everything. It's a gist of all of this, the truth that we know about ourselves. At the same time, it's an overlap between what the external audience perceives us to be. So right now we are in the middle of an existing image. Now, an existing image is not always the right image that we want to project, which is why creating a personal brand should be very intentional. We should be very aware of what we are trying to project, why we are trying to do it, and the how part is what I will take you through today. So today we are going to have two more very, very important things in our agenda. One is, since we're talking about personal branding through LinkedIn, it is going to first cover the LinkedIn profile optimization. How do I make sure that it is exactly the brand that I want to convey to anybody, whether it's just, for a recruiter who might want to take me for a job, or let's say some of you might be applying for internships, the entire optimization and the tools, which I'm going to give you a few, so you can go check that out later as well. And the second thing, is it just enough to have a LinkedIn profile which is optimized? Well, not really, again. So this comes back to the point that I let my work speak for me, but it doesn't always work out, right? So I need to advocate. So the advocacy part of the work comes in the second part of the agenda for today, which is our engagement strategy. And that is divided into three primary divisions. One is create, next is contribute, and the third is connect. So a mixture of all of this will give you the right personal brand and will keep you on track to what you want and the kind of success that you want from LinkedIn. So with this, let's get into today's training session, and I will first take you through this. What are the three stages of effective positioning? Now, personal branding is all about the right sort of positioning and making sure that we are in the middle of exactly our existing image and making sure that existing image is consciously done and we are in control of that image, right? So in LinkedIn, there are three steps that I feel that will give you a good positioning. One is your personal branding. So how does that help? It differentiates you. That's the most important thing, right? So in a sea of saturated profiles, the first thing you need to do is differentiate. When differentiate happens, the next thing you need to do is your engagement starts kicking in. So you're differentiated, great. You have something different, you have something unique, you have a different profile. Now the next thing is you need to make sure that your profile is visible. So the second step of it is networking, and which gives you visibility. The third thing is what elevates you to more of an expert status on LinkedIn. And by expert, I'm not saying it's not defined by the years of experience that you have, but more of the knowledge that you hold in your field. And again, remember that it's a continuous process. It's a continuous journey. It doesn't end. It keeps getting modified. So it will change each and every step of your professional journey. So the third thing is community, where we talk all about thought leadership. So that is where you project yourself as someone who holds knowledge on a particular topic. So these three stages is what you will eventually go through. Now, we will be talking more about differentiation and visibility. So to understand how do we deal with this whole LinkedIn profile optimization part, the way we deal with it is basically going to be first to understand how does the LinkedIn search algorithm actually work. Now, the best part about this is that similar to other search engine platforms, LinkedIn is actually, it supports people searching by keywords. So that's a great thing for us. A lot of other platforms do not have that feature. But since it does, we need to understand it from the perspective of a profile visitor. What might they be looking for? Profile visitor could be anyone, could be a person who might be interested in offering you a job, offering you an internship, or let's say somebody who's simply interested in the field of work that you do, would like to expand their network and believes that you're the right person to add to their network. Or even probably, let's say, going forward, a collaboration opportunity, a unique opportunity that you get because of your profile. So what are the things that we should focus on in a LinkedIn profile, and what weightage should we give to each of these parts? So let's look at that. So the heaviest would probably go to your headline, because these would be full of the keywords that you exactly want for the thing that you're targeting. Then you have your profile photo, your banner image. The about section or the LinkedIn summary is the second heaviest. Again, these two are very fantastic places for you to really express yourself and get right deep into the brand that you want to be. The featured section and the remaining sections, which is your experience, your certifications, credibility, all, and so on and so forth. So this is how we're going to kind of approach it. So give an example. I just want to show you what the top half of my profile kind of looks like. So you have your name, you have your different sections. Now, since I have filled in all of the different elements of the profile, there is an all-star ranking which is given. Again, this is something that happens when you've made sure to fill in each and every section, and make sure you utilize, because each of the sections there in your profile are meant for a particular reason. They are meant for you to showcase each and every aspect of your professional brand. So make sure you use it, don't leave out any of these parts. So let's starting from the first section. What do we have? We have our profile picture. Now, a profile picture, like we say, a picture speaks 1,000 words. So it's an extremely important part of your profile, because that's probably one of the first things that they see. Even when somebody is searching, let's say in LinkedIn search, and they're trying to search for somebody, and your profile shows up in the list of the search results. So the first thing they see is your profile picture, and that has to be really attractive. Now, it doesn't need to be something that makes you look very different from who you are. I'm not saying that, but there are a few basic things that needs to be followed. One is it has to be clear. It has to be a headshot. Now, I've seen a lot of people putting a lot of informal photos. Let's not do that, because it's already a platform where people come for a certain purpose, and they would like people to stick to that kind of purpose. So make sure let's just be aligned to that. A clear headshot. Make sure you're in professional dressing. Try to make it as high resolution as possible. Make sure it is current. So a lot of us, what happens is we have very old, dated pictures. I've seen people, so some of it might even look very similar to an Aadhaar card, and we don't want that, right? We want to project you in the best light possible. So make sure it's current and relatively professional. Again, here, if it does not align to your stream, or it is not the kind of background of the work that you do, you do not need to turn up and have a picture in a full suit and a bow and a tie and the whole package, if it is not exactly the kind of work that you do. So make sure it's related, and it clearly conveys that this is the kind of person I am. This is the kind of professional you will be working with. So that's the kind of image that we're going for. So there's a quick prompt that you can use to answer when you're kind of looking for the right profile picture, which is, whom are you trying to attract, and how can you differentiate yourself? So again, feel free to look at a few different profiles before kind of coming to the correct profile picture for yourself, because again, it will depend in a lot of cases. For me, the profile picture that I have here, the intention behind it was for me to project myself as a professional who is into communications. I need to do a lot of public speaking in my day-to-day activities. I need to do a lot of outreach. So this is the kind of image that I wanted to project, which is why my profile picture stands like that. At the end of the day, an effective photo draws 21 times more profile views and 9 times more connection requests. And this is a verifiable fact that LinkedIn had published. So make sure that you do give a lot of importance to this part. The next thing we're going to be dealing with is the LinkedIn banner. Now, again, for example, I've just kept the banner that I have on my profile. The specifications are there mentioned in the slide. It's a mini portfolio. That's what you have to understand. And the two most important things, because your profile picture and your banner are going to be the only visual elements of your profile. So make sure it really stands out. It's a premium real estate of your profile. Why do we mention it as real estate? It's because this is where they get the first glimpse, and it's a premium space that you occupy, not just in the search, but as well as attention. In terms of attention, it's a very premium real estate, right? So some of the things that I have mentioned is my keywords, what I do, a glimpse of me in action doing some of the things that I've talked about, and small icons. So you can use a lot of pictorial representation as and when you feel like it, and if it relates to what you do. At the same time, feel free to use certain colors, because certain colors do give off certain perceptions. And again, like I said, the whole building of profile has to be very intentional. So if you see, I use a lot of purple, I use a lot of violet, yellow, because for me that's what I want to be doing consistently to make sure my brand stands apart. So if you feel that this is something you want to start early on in your journey, feel free to do that as well. Now, what are some of the important things that has to be there in your LinkedIn banner? The first aspect of it is branding. So what should a recruiter, let's say, or a profile visitor understand from your banner? So for that, there's a simple formula that you need to address, which is who I am, what I do, and my target audience. These are the three elements that has to be captured, and make sure you use a lot of keywords in it. So there's not enough space for you to use sentences or phrases. So make sure you kind of use the keywords related to your particular industry. And the second part of it is positioning. It should demonstrate what you have done. For example, if I say that I'm a marketing professional and I take workshops, then a great way for me to demonstrate that would be a pictorial representation. It would be a picture from one of the sessions, a picture of what I was doing, to whom I'm doing it. So all of that. Think about the target viewer at all points. Showcase your work. For example, if you've been in an internship, let's say you've got great reviews, there's some really meaningful contribution that you've been able to do, and there's somebody who's said really nice things about you. You could even think of using that as testimonials, maybe a small mention somewhere on your banner. You could probably do that as well. If you've taken part in events. Now, it doesn't always have to be a professional experience. Let's say, what if you are a fresher and you don't have any job experience or an internship experience? You're yet to get into all of that. Think about alternate things. What if you've done a freelance thing, you've done a freelance project, you've taken part in extracurriculars, you've done something within your college that you're really proud of. So make sure you showcase those achievements, and most of the time, more than text, try to go for pictures. Establish your credibility. At the end of the day, it is also a digital business card. So if you want, you could always add your contact details there somewhere. Just an email ID should be fine for them to reach you. If you want, probably you could link in, to other social platforms or your other profiles as well. The next part of it is your profile headline. Now, it is usually 220 characters, and it has to be simple, compelling, very specific, and action oriented at all times. Make sure you're using a lot of action words. Try to aim for the position that you want, and supported by the right skill sets that you have, which means if, let's say, you are a student and you're looking for a job in a particular sector, try to use keywords which is relevant to that sector. And do you have any relevant skill sets that is needed for that job? You could mention that as well, right? Also, feel free to include a lot of other things. Like, as I said, it may not always be something related to your work exactly, but is there something more that you have done? What more beyond work have you done? So you can include that. Like, for example, if you see here, I have included a lot of keywords related to the sector that I am in. At the same time, it talks about what I am, what I do. It also talks about the voluntary things that I have done. And it's very current and updated. Again, this is something that will keep changing as and when, so feel free to modify it. So profile headline should always be something unique that makes your LinkedIn profile stand out. And this is the area where you can do that. You have like full liberty to do it. Probably it might be a specific accomplishment. It could be like an award. Let's say if you're a student, you've done something extraordinary in your college and you want to showcase that. Let's say it's even a position that you've held in your college. Maybe it's a club position. Maybe it's you have a lot of student government, so you could probably mention that position. Maybe it's even a passion or a hobby that you've done, something freelancing, any relevant work experience, even part-time. So you just need to provide a lot of evidences for what you've done. So there's a simple formula that I use generally for writing the LinkedIn headline. And there are 3 versions of this, which I have mentioned here. You could use whatever works for you. For example, your title, and the institution, or let's say the company. Sometimes I know a lot of you in this batch have professional backgrounds. You've been experienced and you've come here, so you could even think of using your previous designation, that you were previously working at this particular place, and what do? You help in what, and it's your USP. You can mention it there. Again, you can either use a dash or you can use a bar, whatever format works best for you. Let's look at the third version. The title, your institution or your company, the benefits of working with you, keywords related to your niche, and a personal touch. So this kind of brings and gives you a whole idea about what the profile should be, and what they can reach out to you for. So always remember, feature who you are and how you can add value. For example, there's a sample headline that I've mentioned here, which is, let's say you're a finance graduate. So, and I'm an MBA finance graduate at NIT Calicut. My focus is in financial analysis, reporting, and auditing. And then you talk about your relevant experience. And a very important thing to remember here is make sure it's always quantifiable. Try to give numbers wherever possible, give percentages. So to make sure that you're not just going above the line, you're not just giving a random statement, or you're not just aiming something big but then you don't have quantifiable facts to back it up. So make sure you mention something which is very quantifiable. For example, let's say you've done an internship and you've helped the company. Let's say it was a social media internship and you helped their visibility go up 30%. Let's say it's just a fictional number, so you can mention that worked in this place, enabled this particular company to increase their profits by this percentage, or help them increase it, or let's say you help them save this percentage of their investment, something like that. So you can pick and choose according to the area that you're in, the sector you're in, and you could do that. At the same time, if you want to showcase something where you've done some freelancing work and you've helped clients do something specific, you could mention that. Like if you're freelancing as a web developer, then the simple thing for you to say is probably that I have developed these many websites and I've helped decrease the waiting time by this much percentage. It depends. So the point is, make sure that it's always quantifiable. Now I hope we're good till here. If you could just say yes or provide, right? So I know that you're following, and yeah, great, perfect. So yes, so moving on, let's get to the other aspects of it. Now we come to a very important section, which is our LinkedIn summary. Now, when most users visit your profile, a lot of profile visitors, they can only see the first 300 characters or so of your summary. And then they need to click read more, and then they can see the rest. However, that's for a normal person who is just coming and visiting your profile. But it's not always the same in terms of a LinkedIn recruiter. So for them, it automatically shows the entire summary by default. So this is a key thing to keep in mind going forward. So the thing to remember here is, make sure again it's keyword rich. Like I said in the initial slides, that always think from the perspective of a person who would try to come to your profile. And the only way that they would know is perhaps if they've searched for your specific keyword or something that relates to your industry, and only if you have a certain percentage of those keywords in your summary or in the text heavy areas, only then will your profile come to the top of search results, and they will actually be able to come to your profile. So getting them to click and come to your profile is all depending on the amount of keywords you use. So make sure it's keyword rich. At the same time, don't make it seem too robot like also. It should not just be a collection or a jumble of keywords just randomly put together, and it doesn't make sense. So it has to also tie in together in a very human like way, and in a very realistic way. At the same time, it should have a good idea about what you do. It should give that sort of perception. So make it human like I said, show your personality. And again, at the end of the day, show rather than tell. So we as humans, we don't like seeing a bunch of facts just put together and for us to go through. It becomes very boring. So what we need to tell is describe the situations that you were in, describe the stage that you were in, and bring them along on that journey and make it more of like a story that you're telling them rather than just a profile which is put in their face and they're expected to read through, right? So because when you do that, it makes you seem more of like a salesperson who's just putting it in their face. Our objective is not that. Our intention always is to make sure that it seems very attractive enough for them to reach out to us and be curious enough for them to want to know more, right? So how do you put it into a good story like structure that actually works? This is something that I have used as well, and I can tell you that I've really got a lot of results from it. I've got a lot of people genuinely curious and interested in the kind of things that I do. And I call it the 3-act formula. So an easy way to think about this is take it very light, okay? We just need to think of it as a story and how we're presenting it. So if you were the charismatic protagonist of this particular story, there's always 3 parts to a particular story, right? The beginning, the middle, and I don't call it the end, I call it the present, because like I said, it's always a continuous journey. And then you have your destination. So in this case, your destination is more like what you're working towards, what is that ideal position or the ideal designation that you're working towards, and your protagonist is starting off from this beginning journey. So you can always say that, I don't know how I need to structure this, or why do I need to have this kind of story in place? First of all, I don't need to do all of that. But like I said, the market is very noisy, and stories help create a very nice emotional connection, and it gives a real insight into the kind of person that you are, right? So the personal brand develops through the beginning, the middle, and the present. Now the beginning could be what kind of sparked sparked your interest in that particular sector. Let's say if you're a marketing person, what made you interested in that? Or if you're, let's say, studying MBA HR, what made you interested? Because we know that it's all about people management, it's about people skills. So when was that moment that you realized that this is something that really interests me, it really engages me? What is it? What was that pivotal moment? So think about it and keep that, because people love to know that you're not just another person who's getting into the field just for the sake of getting into a job, right? That will never help us in the long run anyways. So what we need to tell them is demonstrate your genuine passion for the field. Why do I like doing what I do? And make sure that passion really comes through in the kind of words that you do, in the kind of knowledge that you have. Initially, when you're starting off, obviously you won't know too much about it, but it's all about the interest that has sparked at that point. The middle section is going to be all about what you did to support that passion. Now, once you realize that, yes, probably HR is something that I really like, and I would love, to be around people. I would love people management. I am great at doing that. But how do I make sure that I'm qualified enough for that designation that I'm going to go for in the future? So this is an area where you will take some time to talk about the steps that you've taken to actually support your passion or to support the thing that you're interested in. So talk about the certifications that you've done. Let's say talk about the internships that you've done, your relevant experiences. Basically, use this section to build your credibility. Why should they understand that, yes, not only you have passion, but you are ready to go for something like this? And the present. So the present talks all about your current situation right now. What are you doing? What are you striving for? What are you open to? Are you open for collaborations? Are you open for a job? Are you open for an internship? So make the profile visitor understand your current position. And of course, what is your pathway that you're going to take to your ultimate destination, which is your designation that you're looking for, basically. So this is a simple framework. I have also used something very similar like this. Probably later when I link in my profile bio, you can go through it and have a look and see kind of how I've put my story into this structure and how it is kind of supposed to be like. It will give you a good example of what that looks like. So again, feel free to brag about your accomplishments, because it's fine. This is a place where everyone gets to really talk about what they enjoy, but make sure you support it with specific data and facts. And the longer that you use the segment, the better it is, because you have more places for you to insert your keywords. And keep it readable again when you're talking about the middle section, because the middle section is going to be a little heavy section. It's probably going to have a lot of points. So break that into shorter sentences, shorter paragraphs. Use a first person voice when you're writing your middle section. Use bullet points. So these always help. And so you totally have 2,600 characters for you to sum up your LinkedIn summary. Certain things you need to have in place in your LinkedIn summary, which is one, what is the work designation or your dream designation currently that you have, or what you're working for in the future. Why, again, the middle section, completely all about this part. Your purpose, demonstrate your passion towards the subject. How talks completely about your knowledge, your skills, your attitude, and your experiences. And finally, you ended with a CTA, which is what is the reason that they can use to connect with you, and how can they connect with you. So again, use this space to keep your contact details. If you're not comfortable sharing your number, it's fine. You can just keep your email. You can put your email ID. Other ways for them to reach you, whether it's just through a personal message or if they can email you. So make that part really, really clear and give them a reason for them to connect with you. For example, I've seen a lot of people saying, and these are people who are, let's say, already working, and they are able to provide value. If you're a salesperson, probably you can provide value saying that I'll help you understand a little bit about psychology of customers. So if you are interested in that, feel free to reach out to me, leave me a message, or write me an email. I'd love to have a conversation with you about this. So give them a reason for them to connect with you always. And it doesn't matter if you're a student, you will still have a reason for people to connect with you. If not for a recruiter, keep that space open for you to start developing more experiences. So keep it open for freelance projects, things that you can work on that build your credibility towards that designation that you're aiming for, right? Then we have our featured section. Now, a featured section is very important because even though it doesn't have the keyword aspect of it, it is considered as a progression of your LinkedIn profile and the order in which a new person would view that sort of information. So you have to understand that when a person comes to the featured section, they have already seen the above sections. They've even read your about section. So they have a little idea about what you do, your personality, your purpose, your demonstrations, the quantifiable facts, everything. And it's also right before they get to know about your experience, your job roles, and all that. So be very strategic about this section and think about what do you want to project in this section. If you have talked a lot about being passionate about marketing, then how do you demonstrate that in your featured section, whether it is through posts, whether it's through articles. You can even add in an external link. Let's say if you have an external portfolio somewhere, you would like to add in a link to that, you can go for it. You can even add in media. There's a section to add in that, where you can add images or a PDF. Let's say for students, this might be really helpful. For example, if you have a thesis that you worked on, a project that you worked on, a report that you're really proud of, you can add it to your featured section, because that just demonstrates the kind of work that you do. So just make sure it's complementing the other sections which they have already written, and it spotlights the best of your work. Then you have your remaining sections. So the remaining sections, for example, you have your experience, talks about your role, talk about the impact. Again, all of it, make sure you put it in bullet points, quantify it, give a lot of numbers, you support it with validation, you have your education, then your certifications, if any. Skills, make sure it's relevant to your current and future role. Try to get a lot of endorsements from people who already hold some sort of expert status in your domain. That will happen through a connection strategy, which we'll come to in some time. Recommendations, try to get them again influential to your target audience, people who have some sort of expert status in your community, because it really matters when it comes from them. Maybe keep it to 3 to 4, probably not more than that at this stage. Write about your volunteering experience. Now, this is an important section which maybe some of you might just skip, but it is important because for a potential recruiter, what they really love to do is to understand what you do apart from the work that you are in. Are you a holistic personality? Are you someone who's just into work and you don't do anything else? They would like to see a 360 analysis of your personality. So volunteering experience really helps in this. Again, provide a lot of pictures for you to back up whatever statements that you're making. And you can also add your accomplishments, projects probably that you've done in college, and add that in those sections. So again, all of the remaining sections will help support what you've already established in the first half of your profile. Right. So the next thing that we're going to be talking about is free tools. Now, I will probably, I mean, these are just the names of the free tools. For example, you have your background remover, very helpful for a professional image that you're using in your headshot. You have something called Resume Worded, which is very useful for analyzing your LinkedIn profile currently. So it just asks you to take a PDF of your profile. When you go to the more section, you can take a PDF of your resume, I mean, of your LinkedIn profile, and then upload it onto Resume Worded, and it will give you an idea of how optimized your profile is in each of the sections. It will give you a percentage out of 100. And it also has a keyword finder if in case you're not able to identify the right keywords to use for your industry. And another important thing is the Boolean search operator terms. So LinkedIn, like I said, it's a search engine, right? So it also operates on certain terms, which are the Boolean search operators. For example, you have three main words. There are more, but I've taken the top three, which is and, not, and or. It's very useful when you're trying to search for somebody or you're searching for a particular profile. For example, let's say I want to search for a HR person from Chennai. So what I would type in the search section is HR and Chennai. So I would probably use that, and it would give me a list of profiles. It would give me a list of posts associated with it. So anything which has these two terms, this and that, it will come in my profile. So it's an easy way for you to search and figure out. Let's say if you want an internship in a specific place, you could put probably marketing internship or finance internship and this particular place. Get as specific as you feel like, because this will always help. Again, not is when you want something but you don't want the other, or is something where let's say you want a HR and a person who's a founder. So you can use those key terms, customize it however you like it. For example, I've given a picture in the slide itself. So this is when I had searched for HR and Chennai, and this is the post, an example of a post which had come up. And again, it was very relevant for me. So filter it in terms of relevancy. Try to stick to less than 24 hours, because those are the most current and updated versions. So that is what you could do. Try to use the search operator terms and see how that works out for you. Right. Now coming to the second part of it. Now we've crossed the major aspect of this entire optimization process, which is the profile itself. Now since we've got that out of the way, we're coming to the second part, which is our engagement strategy. Now, do you think that recruiters always post job advertisements on LinkedIn? Do you think they always post it? Do you agree with that? Yes or no? What do you think? Do you agree? Do you not agree? No, I see a lot of no's. Right. Exactly. So good. Because the reason why I asked you this is that there is a statistic which was given by Forbes, which says that almost 80% of job openings are never advertised. It's never advertised. So the only way you would get to know about it is through a strong network, and that network is created through an engagement strategy and your amazing personal brand. It's powered by your personal brand, and your network is always there when you need it. So again, this is something that start early on in the process, so that you have enough of time to build the sort of network that you want. Remember three things that we're going to cover, which is create, contribute, and connect. So in terms of create, use a lot of storytelling to build credibility and trust. And I'm completely talking about you creating content. Understand that personal branding does not happen overnight. You have to build consistency through your content. You can give value even as a student, so there's nothing that should stop you from that. Build your credibility and trust. Talk about it. Create a certain schedule, because oftentimes it's not that I just thought of something and I posted right away. It doesn't always come out exactly the way we want, right? So create a schedule beforehand. Try to include posts, look at articles, Let's say post, you could probably do about 2-3 a week. Article, let's say maybe twice a month, depending on your time availability, basically. Try to use polls, use a lot of video, maybe because this is something that's also showing a lot of traction these days on LinkedIn. And the main objective is express knowledge about your subject, talk about your opinions on a particular subject, because that also establishes credibility. Talk about your progress, because at this stage we might not be an expert exactly, but at the same time we are in that stage where we can talk about what we are learning, and that's always helpful for someone else who's also in the initial learning phase, right? And use a lot of hashtags. Try to use it in your first comment, keep it separate from your post as such. For example, there's a sample content schedule that I have been using. So for me, a long form value text would probably look like topics around personal branding, around marketing, around entrepreneurship. I would also try to use stories to talk about my learnings, my reflections, my observations. There's a lot of lighter content also, because again, at the same time, you want to show that you're not just a very rigid professional, right? Talking only about professional things. So you could use a lot of humorous content. Stick to something which is very industry specific that someone else would understand, analogies, polls, and all that. So this is just a sample content schedule that I had. You could also think of something similar. This is a few content ideas that you can work around. Let's say video introduction, speak about the work that you do, talk about trends and insights from your domain. What's your take on opinion leaders' content in your domain? Because again, it's not necessary you just need to agree along with whatever is said. You can have your own opinion, demonstrate that. That shows that you have a mind of your own, and you're trying to actively contribute to your space. You can talk about a case study, a learning from a specific obstacle, maybe your failures, your successes, your milestones. So bring people along with you in the journey is what I'm trying to say here. The next part of it is for you to contribute. Now, how do you contribute? So you use a lot of engagement on other people's posts and comments. Try to check the recent activities of your target connections and see what they have been up to. If they're in a particular sector, then and if you see a lot of engagement happening there, that means it's something that maybe you should also go and contribute to. So it's not just the post. Again, go through the comments of a particular post. If somebody's comment is getting a lot of likes, engage in that discussion separately, create a separate thread from there. Use this post to connect with that person in their personal messages, in their DMs. You can search for relevant posts through your hashtags, through niches. If you're part of a specific community, I'd suggest you to be a part of it. Through your connections, check what they are engaging with and try to contribute to that. And again, add valuable insights. At the same time, you don't need to always agree with everything. Bring your personal touch into it, right? And lastly, in terms of connect, so like I explained previously about the Boolean search function, use that, use and, not, or, and try to search for exactly what you want. Do your own research, because connecting in a lot of cases, the mistake that people do is that you just send a connection request, and that doesn't help because it doesn't show anything about why you want to connect with them. So do your research, try to find out a little bit about the person that you're trying to connect with, and maybe look at their recent activity, see what they've done. Is there a post that they've done? Is that something that you can use as a conversation starter? And customize it. Don't use the same thing for everyone. For example, a template would look like, let's say, a greeting. Again, you don't use something very standardized like dear sir or ma'am. You could maybe use their first name also, because that's considered professional in the industry. Talk about the reason why do you want to connect with them, and be curious at this stage. You do not go and say that, ma'am, I'm looking for an internship, what is the next step? No, try to be a little more curious. Again, that's why you need to do your research. Give a call to action, keep it as an open-ended question. Maybe you'd want to learn a little bit more from them. You want to know certain insights about the industry, so it demonstrates that you like what they are doing, you like what the industry is doing, you want to know more. Engage genuinely, seek knowledge, and make sure connections are always something that you need to nurture. Involve them in your progress. And psychologically, it's also been told that the more you involve people in your progress, the more they feel that they're invested in your growth, and the more they will actually engage back with you, right? So yeah, I mean, and this has also worked out excellently in a lot of my cases, I always customize my connection requests, and that is why people feel that they're also invested in my growth, and they want to come along with me on my journey. Another quick tip here is, if in case let's say you're looking for internships and you're not able to directly connect with the recruiter, look for people who are working in that particular company. It could be a previous intern, could even be a junior level employee, and try to engage with them, and they will help you with a lead or a recommendation probably for an internship. Again, worked out excellently in my case. So try and see how that works out for you. And this kind of sums up your LinkedIn profile optimization as well as the engagement strategy. And I would like to kind of bring it together by saying that, end of the day, remember that you need to show up authentically with your knowledge, your skills, and an attitude. You need to be yourself, because everyone else is already taken, and there is always a place for a distinct profile, even in a sea of profiles like LinkedIn. So I just wanted to say it and end that. And I would love to also connect with you all individually if you have any further questions. And of course, I'd also love to do a profile review for you later, if you can connect with me on my email ID, or Vishnupriya can also share it with you later on. And she would also be sharing a feedback form with you in the chat, and I would love for you to fill it up, because it would really help me know what you have been able to learn from this session, and what was your outcome. So I will probably end it with this, and I would love for you to turn your cameras on so that we can have a quick picture, if that's okay.
Guys, if you could turn, your camera on, some of you, that would be really great.
Right. Great. I can see a few of you turning your cameras on. Yeah. So Vishnupriya, can you please help me out?
Yes.
Snap, and I can keep it as a memory, and it was a lovely having to be able to do the session with you all.
So now we'll go to the Q&A, Aishwarya.
Yes, absolutely. So any doubts, anything, feel free to ask. We have a few minutes. Yes, you can unmute and go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, Aishwarya, thank you so much for enlightening us with this knowledges. I'm sure we all will be benefited in a long run. So my question to you is, sometimes we do not have the liberty to disclose all the nitty-gritties of the kind of work that we do. We all sometimes like like the companies get ourselves signed into a NDA kind of thing, non-disclosure agreement. So in those scenarios, how should I strategize this branding? Because I'll not be able to disclose many things about my work, right?
Could you give me an example? Like, you're talking about figures?
Example like contract management, say for example.
Mm-hmm.
It's a generalized thing, but how will I exactly say? I mean, that's my question actually, because we are not supposed to disclose, but at
Right.
the same time, I would like the recruiter to know. I can go ahead and tell during the interview, but posting on the social media would definitely harm me, because sometimes in some cases, our profiles are being tracked by the companies. So how do we do that in such cases?
Yeah, totally understood. So yes, again, in certain cases, this might be a little bit of a challenge. So try to maybe not get too specific with it. Again, the whole point of it is, if you could just use general keywords which are related to your industry, again, without giving off too much of your specific company or too detailed about your work, that's fine. Maybe use that as a reason for people to connect with you personally, and then you can tell them about it. So use that in your about section, and tell them, just give them a general overview of the kind of work you do, and leave a reason for them to connect with you personally, and then you can probably tell them if it's not okay for you to directly talk about it on social media. So I would say that might work better. Again, feel free to also look at a few profiles in your genre, in your sector, so that you know how people have kind of been able to project it. If you have any concerns with what you can actually project, you can also check with your HR or the company that you're associated with, to get an absolute understanding of to what extent am I able to share something, and they would also be able to help you out, because there are certain guidelines also in place. So feel free to take an external advice also on this.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi.
Great. Yes, hi.
Firstly, a great session. There were a few things which I was not even aware of. So thanks to you. My question is related to the part you talked about regarding the summary, no, the about section in which we express that we are passionate about this particular field. So in my case, I'm no specializing in HR and also business analytics and systems. So these two are, I would say, entirely different. So if I express my passion towards HR, which is true, so in that case, I don't want the companies to have an image of me just focusing towards HR. Like I don't want the companies which could take me for a systems role to go away saying that she's just passionate about the HR. So in that case, should we make it more central towards both the specializations? Would that
Yeah,
help?
absolutely. You can, mention this as two of your interests, and since you're saying that these are two, completely different tracks, probably mention a reason why, even though they are completely two different things, what draws you to each of this. Because it's not just about what you're interested in. What they would like to know is why is this your choice, and even if they are different, why is that so? So if once you have established that, then it makes them know that you're open to both, and that's fine with them. Because one question might be that if you're interested in something, and how are you also interested in something which is completely different, right? So make sure you have just the supporting reason, which is where your passion, or something which is validating your interest in both these fields come into the picture. So make sure you validate the reason why these two are separate, but you're still interested, and how you would like to take this forward. So that might be something you'd like to mention.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Great.
Guys, any more questions? We have 2 more minutes.
Yeah, hi Aishwarya. This side Arvind here.
Yes.
I just I was listening to your session, and you rightly mentioned that the about section, which is the summary, right? That is actually very important in the eyes of the whomever is searching for the right kind of prospective leads which they are looking for, right?
Yes.
So when we are actually into writing what we've actually done, or what we are actually into, okay, is it okay to like describe the story, is it okay to include whatever which comes into our mind? Like, the thing is that I actually went through your profile while you were actually taking the session, and you described your story in a very interesting manner, okay? But I was curious that is it okay to use too much of smileys in the about section? Like, I was just curious to know about that. Like, what is your take?
Yeah. So yeah, again, I mean, generally, let's keep it a balance, maybe not too many emojis and smileys also. But it totally depends on what you're aiming for, because in my case, what you've seen is I'm definitely appealing towards more of a creative crowd who would probably appreciate something like that, right? If I was in a more rigid sort of a profession, maybe that might not have worked out. Or even when I talk about storytelling, the kind of words that I've used, or how I've tried to kind of express myself, um, is appealing to my set of industry professions, where storytelling in itself is considered a very important element. So it depends on the kind of industry that you're also coming from. Like I said, if there's a scope for you to quantify it, if you're in more of like a, let's say if you're in more of like a finance sort of an industry, then obviously you would try to stick more to facts and figures, and you would try to quantify the kind of efforts that you've done. So it depends. I would also maybe later on love to have a look at your profile, and maybe offline we can connect, and I can help you maybe frame your about section in a kind of a story way, the way you probably want in mind. So we can probably connect later on this and look through.
Yeah, sure. I found your profile very attractive, and I've actually sent you a connection request as well. Looking forward to, like filter out whatever is necessary and whatever is to be, edited in my profile. Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. And this is an open thing that I'm giving to everyone. Like, please feel free to connect with me later, and send me your profiles. I can help you out on how you need to structure it, and especially certain important elements, like I said, which comes forward in the search area, which are very the priority needs to be given to those sections. So we will look at it. And let me just link my LinkedIn profile for those of you who may not have been able to find me. Just give me a second. Yeah, meanwhile, anybody else has any questions, we can go forward. I think I saw somebody in the chat box. Yeah, so I've just put in the link. This is my profile. Feel free to have a look through.
I think Giridhar have posted a LinkedIn ID in the chat section.
Yes. Giridhar, would you like to kind of give the context?
No, ma'am. I was just saying, as you had mentioned, like your own niche, your own domain where you would like to specialize in. So I was just trying to see some other profiles as well. There is this MD, Managing Director of Kotak Asset Management Company. He's again a very famous figure. He comes on television and other talk shows among finance minister and all these big people. And then of course Bhavish Agrawal. So I was what I did find in these accounts was the simplicity as well. I mean, again, as you said in the last question, answering to Arvind, that it depends upon the domain where you're coming from, right? If you're coming from, say, something which is all about facts and figures, such as finance, then I think traditionally, rather than restricting yourself to like opening yourself to a lot of stuff, a lot of smileys and those things, it would be fine if we could stick with traditional stuff like these people have. In this example, I think Bhavish Agrawal. I was just curious enough.
Right, absolutely. So a very important thing to remember here is the best way to not get lost in a sea of profiles is to make sure you inject your own personality into it. Your personality has to be a very important part of it. Now the link that you shared, and let's say a lot of people who are in a very high position, let's say CEOs or people who are in very senior positions, and for them an added factor comes into the part where they're having a profile. It's not just about a social media presence for them. There's a lot of things which involve it could be an aspect where they have to be very careful about crisis management, because I come from a background of PR, and it's very important for the people who are in charge, their team, to make sure that it's simplistic enough, it conveys the right information, it's very to the point. Again, it's very aligned personally, like especially if you see a lot of CEOs, it's also, their profile is also a reflection of the values with which they lead. So probably simplicity is one of his values. Maybe that is one of the values that he wants to project, which is why his profile is maintained in that particular sort of a way. Again, there are a lot of profiles, let's say CEOs who might be leading with, more of a vision where they want to disrupt a lot of things in the industry, where they want to create big change. So if you see for them, the profile that they have, the colors that you use, the messaging, the communication, the words that they use are also very aligned to their personal values. So, like I said, it's a very continuous journey. As and when we go through each stage of our professional life, the how much of our personality we inject into our profiles, how much of our values we allow to show in our profiles, it completely changes. So at this stage, maybe the profiles that you've shown, it's showing that they're leading by their specific values, and that is what they have projected in their profiles. So even as a beginner, even as a fresher who's trying to get into this whole journey, that's how you can differentiate yourself. So probably take some time to think about your values and what you would like to project, and keep that as an important aspect. For me, creativity is one of a very important value that I personally try to inject in everything, which is why maybe my profile would seem a little different, in that aspect. So I hope this kind of answers your query. And again, feel free to connect later also. We can talk more on this.
So I guess we have come to towards the end of the session. So if there are no more Q&A, we would request Ms. Pooja to give you a vote of thanks.
Yeah, so let me get straight to the point. Firstly, thank
Yes,
you, Ms.
it certainly
Aishwarya.
does, ma'am.
Hello,
Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you,
Thank you,
Gilda.
Gilda. Okay, firstly, thank you, Ms. Aishwarya. We feel privileged enough to have you take some time to talk to us on how to build a proper profile on LinkedIn and be okay with subtly bragging about ourselves to make a profile. And in such a public platform, we need some tools like the ones you mentioned. So thank you for giving us those tools as well. Secondly, thank you to all the Students Association members and faculty for actually taking their time to organize such an event. Finally, thank you to all of our students and Jitin who actually found the time to attend and interact in such an event, that too on a weekend. So thank you, everybody. That's it, I think. We all can leave the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
so much.
Aishwarya.
Thank you all for coming and attending the session. And just a little reminder, please do go ahead and fill out the feedback form. That will really help me also. And, it will just be a wonderful memory that I've been able to come and take this session for you all. Thanks, Pooja, for the wonderful vote of thanks. And Vishnupriya, as always, thank you for your support. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.